Industrial revolution in Western countries started with the mining of coal and metal ores. Very soon this was replaced by the organic chemical based industries because of the discovery of oil and natural gas reserves. From the early 1900 to the late 1960, hundreds and thousands of petroleum based products were introduced into environment and many synthetic chemicals were developed. Industrial production was dominated by carbon based plastic and organic chemicals such as pesticides and solvents, but modern industries' backbone remained the metal based goods. Most of these industries made use of common metals such as iron, aluminum, copper, etc. In addition, less abundant but highly toxic elements such as the lead, cadmium, nickel, mercury, arsenic and selenium are also used by these industries. Metallic elements are therefore commonly found in the industrial wastes, where they have a complex but less understood role and effect on the environment. The disposal of these wastes can result into adverse effects not only on the environment but also on the human beings. It was pollution in the form of waste from the factories in the developed countries which put the environmental issue for the first time on the map. In 1950s, it was Japan's Minamata disaster which took place in Japan, and during which mercury based waste from the factories was piped regularly into the ocean, and from there it contaminated the fish. Because of consuming these contaminated fish, many people died and many more became disabled. Then in 1970s, a rubbish dump from a chemical industry in the Love Canal of New York State was found to contain highly toxic chemicals which were leaking out of their containers and posing a serious threat to the humans and the environment. In Asia, the environmental cost of rapid industrialization has been too heavy to cope with. The industrial emission of carbon dioxide has crossed over 1 billion tons in this region since 1985. Pesticides and other toxic chemicals are found more often and in increasing concentration in the people living in these regions. Most of the freshwater resources have become polluted due to the extensive effluents coming out from the industries. The beginning of development in the countries such as India and China has resulted into excess production of industrial waste. Even the consumers living in these countries have developed the habit of discarding large quantities of hazardous waste. We buy, we use and discard increasing quantities of goods that have hazardous characteristics, including paints, solvents, pesticide, batteries, CFLs and many kinds of electronic goods. The disposal of such toxic and hazardous waste results into adverse effect not only on the environment but also on the human health. Early in 20th century, industries and cities and towns began to use the abandoned and natural depressions to dump the solid waste, an earliest form of landfill. But now in modern sanitary landfills, advanced techniques are used so as to avoid all kinds of contaminations. Besides, there are many kinds of waste minimization programs of recycling and reuse, which not only regulate the hazardous industrial waste but also gives the guidelines for the safe recycling and disposal of hazardous household waste. But safe disposal of industrial hazardous waste alone is not sufficient to address this problem. There is an urgent need of developing cleaner technologies by which the production of waste could be reduced at source. Our goal should be to achieve the low waste society to save our environment for the future generations. On the basis of physical characteristic, industrial waste could be classified into four major types: the combustible waste, the solid waste, sludge and slurry waste, and wastewater. Combustible waste yields byproducts that can be released directly into atmosphere as gaseous or particulate pollutants when they are not properly filtered. Solid wastes are directly dumped on the ground, and when these wastes they come in contact with water, their soluble constituents are dissolved and leach out into the soil surface and pollute the ground and below. Sludge and slurry waste is a kind of semi-solid waste, and when it is dumped into the soil, it pollutes the soil as well as the groundwater. Wastewater, due to its liquid state, is a potential source of pollution if discharged directly into aquatic or terrestrial environment without proper treatment. Not many processes on the earth are 100% efficient. None of the manufacturing process use 100% of the raw material or produce 100% of the product. Most of the industrial processes generate some kind of byproduct or waste. The amount of solid waste generated during the industrial processing depends on the production rate, type of manufacturing process, and the pollution control measure employed by the industry. For example, in a cigarette making industry, which is utilizing around 78 lakhs of tobacco leaves, would produce around 3,91,000 kilogram of solid waste every year, which mainly consists of tobacco leaves, the cigarette wrapping paper, and the tobacco dust. While in a leather tanning industry, the dyeing of 1,000 hides produces around 450 kilograms of solid waste per year. This waste consists of scrap products, dyes, and hazardous metals such as chromium. The major generator of industrial solid wastes are thermal power plants producing coal ash, the integrated iron and steel mills producing blast furnace slag and steel melting slag, non-ferrous industries like aluminium, zinc and copper producing red mud and tailings, sugar industries generating press mud, pulp and paper industry producing lime, and fertilizer and allied industries producing gypsum. So, let us see how harmful is the coal ash. A 1000 megawatt power plant which is using a coal of 3500 kilocalories per kilogram and ash content varying between the 40 and 50% needs around 500 hectares of land for disposal of fly ash for about 30 years. The huge amount of fly ash generated is a potent source of environmental pollution. Burning of coal produces sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides, which are the major gaseous pollutant. Besides, the coal burning also generates the carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas. Coal has trace amount of many elements which includes calcium, sodium, iron, magnesium, potassium, tin, arsenic, boron, barium, cadmium, chromium, copper, fluoride, nickel, lead, sulfur, zinc, molybdenum and mercury. These elements are persistent and remain in the fly ash, and their level builds up over the time. Coal also contains trace amount of radioactive elements such as uranium and thorium, posing a health hazard to the people living near the thermal power stations. Majority of fly ash is disposed on the land or in the ponds. Ash leaching can result into acid formation and the metal runoff. According to an assessment in 1988 of environmental and social impact of thermal power plant in Singrauli, coal burning alone was responsible for emitting 680 tons of chromium, 340 tons of nickel, 270 tons of lead and 1760 tons of fluoride per year in the environment. Various kinds of slags which are generated from the integrated iron and steel plants are also dumped around the plants in the form of hillocks, and they pollute the groundwater as well as the soil. These plants also generate blast furnace dust, LD slag, lime dust and open heart slag. All these wastes are disposed as landfill around the industry and pollute the soil. During rains, the soluble metals from these waste get dissolved into the water and then they pollute the nearby water source also. Although the blast furnace slag has a potential of conversion into the granulated slag, which can be a raw material for cement industry, but it is yet to be practiced. Similarly, the LD slag, lime fine, blast furnace dust and the open heart slag have various uses in agriculture and industry. Phosphogypsum is the waste which is generated from phosphoric acid, ammonium phosphate and the hydrogen fluoride industries. Similarly, the red mud is generated from the non-ferrous industries like aluminium and copper in the form of tailing into the tailing ponds, from where it finds its course into the rivers and ponds, especially during monsoon season, and pollutes the water. Lime sludge, which is also known as lime mud, is generated in paper and pulp industries, and most of the times it is not recovered for reclamation of calcium oxide excepting in the large mills. The lime mud is disposed in low-lying areas around the mills, and during the monsoon it is again mixed up with the water and it pollutes the nearby rivers and the groundwaters. Mining activities, and in particular the strip mining, produces huge amount of waste in the form of soil and rocks. According to an estimate, in United States alone, mining activities excavates around 26 billion tons of soil per year, which is more than the soil which is taken away as runoff by the rivers of the world into the sea. Mining waste contains large amount of trace elements and toxic metals and can alter the environment physically and chemically both. For example, strip mining of copper in United States produces large quantities of mine waste. This mine waste contains around 100 to 10,000 milligrams of the metal such as the cadmium and lead. Similarly, the iron pyrite mining contains metals like copper, silver and lead. When these metals are dissolved in the water, they have a devastating impact on the nearby water bodies and pollute the aquatic environment. The process of drilling for crude oil requires powerful drilling rigs. These rigs use the drilling fluid containing chemicals such as barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Large quantities of these fluids must be disposed after one-time use because they get spent after one use only. All these fluids are disposed in the area around the drilling rigs, polluting the soil and the groundwater. Although these pollutants are not the direct hazard to the environment, but still they alter the environmental conditions, and the sodium chloride is responsible for creating the salinity of the soil. Waste high in organic chemical is often generated from the oil refineries, petrochemicals, the chemical, pharmaceutical and food processing industries. Besides this, the paper and pulp industry also generates high amount of organic waste. Most of the industrial processes, if not all, generate some kind of hazardous or non-hazardous waste. The type and amount of waste generated depends on the type of industry. With ongoing developmental processes and the increasing population, more and more demand is created for the finished and processed goods. As a result, the amount of waste generation has also increased manifolds. However, in recent years, all these industries have tried to reduce the production of their polluting waste, applying the aggressive pollution prevention strategies. This includes the recycling, reuse and reduce the waste. Industrial pollution can also be reduced by reducing the demand of the product and by improving the manufacturing techniques.